When you think about construction, all those massive skyscrapers and huge infrastructure projects, it's an industry that's been kind of stuck in the past for a long time. But that is all changing, and it's changing fast. There's this huge technological wave hitting the industry, and it is completely reshaping everything. So let's dive into what that digital transformation really looks like.
And wow, what a transformation it is. I mean, this number, it really says it all. $3.1 billion. That's how much money was poured into U.S. construction tech startups in 2018 alone. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's a jump of over 300% from just the year before. This isn't just some small trend, it's an absolute explosion. It's a signal that the industry is finally waking up.
So the big question is, why now? What's driving this huge sudden shift? Well, for decades, the industry has been practically drowning in old, inefficient ways of doing things. Just imagine, critical information is trapped in totally separate systems. Teams can't talk to each other effectively, and countless hours are just wasted trying to manually piece data together. This investment boom, it isn't about getting shiny new gadgets. It's a desperate cry for a smarter, better way to build.
And that's where digitization comes in. It is the key to escaping what we call this legacy trap. It's forcing companies to rethink absolutely everything, from their business models all the way down to their daily workflows. And the goal? It's simple. Eliminate waste, automate the boring stuff, and just streamline the entire project from start to finish. Let's see what that actually looks like. Okay, this slide breaks it down perfectly. It's a tale of two projects. Over on the left, you've got the old way. Data's trapped, everything is done by hand, and because of that, the risk of a major mistake is sky high. Now look to the right. That's the new digitized approach. Here, technology connects everything, creating a single source of truth that delivers accurate, real-time data, and that allows for automation and, genuinely useful insights when you need them. At the very heart of this new approach are these platforms called Project Management Information Systems, or a PMIS for short. The best way to think about a PMIS is like the central nervous system for a construction project. It connects all the different moving parts, sucking in data and feeding it into analytics. This gives the project leaders the insights they need to make faster, much smarter decisions. Plus, it standardizes how things get done, automates those repetitive tasks, and just speeds up the whole approval process. So, beyond that central platform, what's actually in this new tech toolkit? Let's take a look at a few of the key innovations that are completely changing the game on the ground, especially when it comes to managing a project's scope and dealing with changes. First up is building information modeling, or BIM. And look, don't let the name fool you. This is way more than just a 3D model. BIM software creates this incredibly deep, data-rich digital twin of a building. It captures not just its physical shape, but all of its functional characteristics, all before a single shovel ever hits the dirt. So how does this actually help manage a project's scope? Well, that 3D visualization gives everyone, from the architects to the final client, a crystal clear picture of the project. This means you can catch clashes, like, say, where the electrical systems are supposed to go versus the plumbing, in the virtual model, long before they become a super expensive problem on site. And clients can see for themselves if the design actually meets their needs before construction starts. That leads to better decisions and, critically, way fewer expensive change orders later on. Next, we have something you've probably seen flying around: unmanned aerial vehicles, or what we all just call drones. These are not just for taking cool pictures from the sky. In the built environment, they are incredibly powerful data capturing tools. We're talking high optic cameras, laser scanners, and all kinds of sensors to survey terrain, inspect sites, and monitor progress way more efficiently and safely.
And this isn't some futuristic theory, it's happening right now. Take a look at this real-world example from the UK. Network Rail, the folks who manage the country's entire rail system, are using drones to survey the land all around their tracks. Not only does this make their fieldwork way more efficient, but it's a massive win for health and safety, because it means fewer workers have to be in high-risk situations, like working at dangerous heights. Now, all these new tools are generating a flood, an absolute mountain of data. And that's where data analytics comes in. It's all about finding the hidden patterns and meaningful insights in all that raw information. So, for example, by analyzing data from your last 10 projects, you might discover that a certain supplier is almost always late. That lets you predict and hopefully prevent delays on your current project. It's all about using the past to build a better future. And finally, let's talk about something that feels like it's straight out of science fiction: virtual and augmented reality.
These immersive technologies are total game changers for communication. They allow clients, end users, and the project teams to literally step inside a building and walk through it before it's even been built. It completely bridges that knowledge gap between the technical blueprints and the real-world experience.
And here is another fantastic example. A medical center project down in Alabama used VR to let the actual doctors, nurses, and administrators walk through 3D models of their future hospital wards. By actually interacting with this virtual environment, they could tweak the layout and refine the scope, making sure the final building was perfectly designed to meet their needs from day one. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so we've seen all the cool tech, but let's be real for a second. Just buying a bunch of drones and software doesn't guarantee success, does it? The real challenge, the hard part, is putting it all together. So how do you go from just owning the tools to actually transforming your business? This slide right here gets to the absolute heart of it. Success is not just about the technology. True transformation only happens when you treat these three pillars, technology, people, and processes, as equal partners. If you ignore your people or your processes, I promise you, even the best technology in the world is going to fail. So, with that in mind, here's a 6-step playbook for success. First, it has to start at the top. You need that buy-in from senior leadership. Then, you find and empower change champions on the ground, people who others respect. You have to set clear goals and report on them publicly to build momentum. Be realistic with your timelines. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. You absolutely must invest in training your people. And finally, and this might be the most overlooked step of all, you have to give your teams the time and the space to learn without pressure. You can't master new tools when you're stressed out and overworked. And I really want to hammer this point home. Technology itself is not a magic bullet. It only creates value when it's tightly aligned with your overall strategy and your goals. And the glue that holds all of this together? It's communication. That is the absolute non-negotiable foundation of any successful change. All right, so we've covered the why, the what, and the how. The technology is here, the best practices are known, and the industry is really at a tipping point. It's no longer a question of if the built environment will be digitized, but rather who is going to lead the way. This table here really connects all the dots for us. You can see a nice, clear line from a specific challenge, like poor visualization, to a digital solution, like BIM and VR, all the way to a real strategic outcome, like having fewer change orders. It's a simple but really powerful roadmap. You identify the problem, you apply the right technology, and you reap the rewards. So, the blueprint for transformation is right here. The tools exist. The strategies are proven. The only thing left now is a choice. Is your organization going to keep building for yesterday? Or are you going to embrace this change and start building for tomorrow?